back. Okay, cool. All right. So I think we're good. Bill's going to stay like somewhat close in the other room in case I need him.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, this is the first time that we've done something exactly like this, with this being like more workshop style. So I thought it would be a little bit better to use something like, I'm using a program called Ecamm. So what that means is that I can stream to Zoom to all the peeps there and then stream to the Facebook group. And I can also see your comments and reactions and things like that as we go. That's the one problem I find now with this new Facebook Live preview, is that there's no way for you to like always see the comments. I don't know if you guys have found that, but not exactly ideal when you're trying to do something super interactive. I'm not sure if the live froze for anyone or if it's Vanessa's Wi-Fi, but if, hopefully it's good. If there's any problems throughout, you guys can just pop in a comment there, and then I know what's going on and if we need tech support. So, okay, so thank you guys so much for joining us. This is something I've been super passionate about putting on. The Ideal Customer Workshop is really that link between where people maybe feel like they struggle with getting the engagement, like they feel like they've got sort of all the right ingredients, but they're not exactly sure how to combine them to attract the people that they want. They start to become maybe a little bit more consistent, and they're putting themselves out there, they're sharing their story, but it's just not, I can definitely share the link to the software for sure. It's just like you feel like it's just not coming together for you. And that all lies within your ideal customer and what things you guys are going to learn today. So as I mentioned at the beginning there is a handout that you guys are going to be able to access. And it looks like this, except it's prettier and in color. So you guys will be able to find that. So just follow along with this, and we will have some time that we take, like in this sort of workshop style. My idea was that I wanted everyone to actually have time to like think about the answers and then be able to prompt me if you needed a little bit more help, right? Because like training and all that stuff is great, but if you're not actually getting the real answers that you came for that like solve the problem and help you move forward, then like the training isn't helpful, right? So that's what I really want to dive into today, is providing you guys some real life examples and showing you exactly what I would do to get to these answers for your ideal customer. So you're definitely in the right place. One, if you're a Beachbody coach, but also if you wish you had more engagement but don't know what you're doing wrong. So that's a pretty key sign there, that if you're not getting that engagement and you have no idea why that's happening. Also, if you've ever said, I wish I could figure out who my ideal customer is, then you're definitely in the right place today. And you're sharing your journey, but you're not seeing challengers actually want to join you. And then you have no idea actually where to begin with this process. So in the handout, you guys are going to see there is a spot here to put in what you're going to learn today. So that's what we're going to cover now. Okay, so what you're going to learn today, guys, is we're going to start with you and get really, really clear on who you are, because you're a huge part of your ideal customer's journey. You want to always be attracting people that resonate with you, right? You don't want sorry for my bluntness here, but you don't want a bench of like losers that you never actually hang out with in real life. So that's why it's important to connect with who you are first and get really clear on that before you start thinking about who you want to attract. Then as we move into part 2 of the training, you're going to learn more about your ideal customer, more on a holistic level, the things that they think about, the things that they struggle with, and what they actually say to themselves. Yeah, for sure. Do you want to... Okay, Bill's just going to make sure everyone in the Zoom room got admitted in here, guys. So I'm just going to keep talking you through the learning, and he's going to... yeah, they are. Okay, good. Perfect. Okay, so then in terms of that, after we get that holistic view, then we're going to dive into the research, because like this is the thing that always stumps me whenever I'd heard ideal customer training before, is like, what am I supposed to do? Just like make up all this stuff. I think about my ideal customer, and then what? Like, and then hope and pray that I get engagement. So this is where sort of the rubber hits the road. And I'm actually going to show you how to do the research to back up what your predictions are. They're really only predictions until you do this type of research to solidify that is exactly who you're looking for. And then we're going to move into the last component of the training, which is actually how to serve your ideal customers. So once you gather all this intel and you have all this information about your ideal customer, the goal is to be able to serve up the right things at the right time in the right language so that you're actually getting that engagement. You learn how to start tweaking your posts and tweaking all the things you're going to be using if you're using the Done For You marketing funnel, or if you're not at that stage yet that you're using that, just anything you're putting out there should always be tweaked towards your ideal customer. So that's the fourth component of the ideal customer formula that you're going to be learning today. Okay, so I am very familiar with all of you guys, but there might be some peeps out there on Zoom that we haven't officially met before. My name is Ashley Shaw, and I'm here because I love helping social sellers eliminate the marketing overwhelm so they can build authentic businesses. I think I've always found with any sort of entrepreneurial pursuit, the thing that slows me down is overwhelm. And that's where I've always found that as soon as I either took a course, hired a coach, or just someone help me make the path really clear, that's when I would see like, you know, I would have the ability to double my income or double my sales or really start getting like authentic customers. Like it was through the work of other people blazing the trail that helped me grow my business and help take down the overwhelm. And I think what they say is really true, that overwhelm is the enemy of execution. And that is when you feel overwhelmed, it's like impossible to move forward in your business. At least that's how I feel. So that's what I love to do. I love to digest what is going on out there in the busy marketing world, test it, and then showcase it to the people I love working with to help like get out and cross out anything that's not working or that's not relevant to them in their field so that they can really focus on the authenticity in their business and doing the things only they can do. That's ultimately, I think, what success comes down to, is taking down the overwhelm and focusing on the tasks only you can do. So I saw this quote. This is actually one by Marie Forleo. Your business is your customer list. And why I love this is if we really think about this for a second, if you have a business, whether it's online or offline, your business is your customer list. And this might seem obvious, but if you have no customers, therefore you have no business. So as you know, when you're building a business, that list of customers and getting to know them so intimately is such an important piece of you unpacking this puzzle of how you can really serve your audience and have people being attracted to you and coming to you like a magnet, right? The more that you know your customers, the bigger your business will grow. The more that you can shorten that gap between what they think about and how quickly you're able to come up with solutions. Eventually, you will start to know the solutions before they even realize it's a problem. And that is how you build a really successful, thriving business. And as you know, business is an exchange of value. So you must know what your customer deeply wants, because that unlocks the key to what they deeply value. And when you provide value to that market of your customer base, monetary value is given to you in return. So if you think about your business right now, I want you to think of it's an in and out flow of you providing value and them providing monetary value back, right? So when you think about it that way, your business really is, it's sort of like the idea of The Secret. Like, what are you putting out there, and what are your thoughts and your vibes and your vibration, and do they align with always providing value to your customers? Because what's going to come back to you with that is that monetary value. So that's really, if you're not getting engagement, this is something we're going to unpack and talk about, but it's really like this value bank account. You have to be pouring into your customers, and that is how it's going to come back to you. And I remember, first starting off in this, like when you don't have any customers, of course, like it's a little more stressful because you're like, how do I just get people to join me? That's all I want. But if you can get your head wrapped around, how do I add value to my audience? And that be the number one question you're always answering, that will be life-changing for your business. So you want to definitely understand how this exchange happens of you giving value and then them coming back with monetary value. That is really how you'll add to your business and start to see the wins really start to stack up for you, is understanding how you specifically deliver value and what your ideal customers or what your customer lists deeply, deeply want. So that is super important. So I want to talk to you guys just a little bit about 2.5 years ago. So this is so I've been in online marketing now. My husband and I have been for the last 15 years. If you want to see what learning curves and things look like, if you ever are on YouTube and you Google scarf tips, we used to run this website where we were selling scarf rings, and I was making like scarf tip tutorial videos, and like it was the worst. I remember just like this pit in my stomach of like not wanting to do it. It's so obvious on camera. And I was just searching I knew that I wanted to work online and help people, but I wasn't sure how that was all going to come together. And it was so obvious in what I was putting out there and what I was doing. But the reason I share this is because we all start somewhere in our businesses. We can't expect to just roll up and, this funnel and system and all these things to just automatically be in place. It takes time. This is an investment. The more that you're investing in the right areas, the more your business will grow, and the less amount of time you'll have to put into it. When I think back to when I was first starting, like I was working, I had a full-time job at the time, so working before, work, and after. And then now, like I ideally like to work 2 or 3 hours a day when I need to. So it is an exchange of time. It takes time to get these systems in place. But once you do, you'll never look back. Like I promise you that. So I had 0 customers. So I was starting in the same place that a lot of coaches are, where it's sort of like that, you're starting at that ground zero where you have no idea what your customers want, who to go after, and it can seem like this sea of unknown of where do I even focus. So if you're feeling like that right now, I definitely understand. I didn't just roll up on, for example, like Beachbody coaches and social sellers and just know that was going to be my market. I'm going to share with you guys exactly what I did to get there, but there were a lot of things I needed to figure out first before that piece of it became so obvious. And that wasn't until after I had dug in and done my research. So speeding it up now to the present with the tactics and tools I'm going to teach you guys, I now help over 25,000 coaches a month. And those are within my membership plans, my free community. And the beautiful thing about this is that I literally have daily conversations with my ideal customers where they are sending me messages. Like I get those right in my inbox with their language, what they're looking for. Like people come to me when they want more. So that's the place we all want to get to, is that you have this like beating pulse of a community. And for me, that is my Facebook group. That's when people reply to my emails, when people send me messages. Like I have this beating pulse of daily conversations with my ideal customers where they trust me because I've provided value and they want more of what I'm giving them. So that's a really important piece for this, is that you build those systems and get that in place so that your ideal customers are eventually coming to you. And that's why this is so important. Yeah, sorry, I just had a question there. The Zoom group is, yeah, if you are a monthly member, you're in the Facebook group. And if you paid to be on the training today, you're in the Zoom. So yeah, don't worry about that. We're all good. Okay, cool. Okay, so now we're going to jump in to this sneaky little thing that happens. And this is around our limiting beliefs. And so this might come as a surprise or it might not, but I really want to make sure that we iron these out before we move forward with anything to do with attracting your ideal customers. So this is going to be in your handout on page number 2. So you can write these down and then you'll have a little more time to reflect with these. Now, before we jump into these, here is the problem with limiting beliefs. I'm sure that you guys have all heard of them before. Limiting beliefs, so everything that is made up in our world, like 95% of it is a belief, right? Whether you were brought up to believe that making money is easy or making money is hard, that is not a fact. It's what you believe, right? So it's really important that we start to have antennas up about what things are actually true and what things are fabricated that we've made up, right? Like maybe you're coming to this training and you're like, getting engagement is hard, or finding ideal customers is hard. So what we need to realize is that that is a belief that we are holding on to. And it's important that we recognize it as such, because when you have the right tools and you do the right things, this stuff isn't hard. But what is hard is thinking that you're doing everything and you're still not getting results. And that the truth is you're not doing everything. There's many other things that you can be doing. So it's just having a really open mind around this. And I'm going to circle back to this too as we talk more about your customers and really getting in the head of their limiting beliefs, because there's things holding them back from taking action. So we're going to talk more about that as well. Okay. So here's the first limiting belief. Anything that you put out on social media where you're not getting engagement, it's not personal. This is a process of trial and error. So sometimes I hear this and I can see it in people's voices. They're getting like upset because they feel like they're doing everything, in their words, right? And they are putting posts out there and they're just not getting engagement. Well, here's the thing, like this is a constant process when you're working on your ideal customer and getting engagement of, does this work or does that work better? This or that, this or that, this or that. It's very common for me to put something out there on social media, like a post, and I can see right away, did I nail the photo and did I nail the caption? I can see that with the engagement and what's happening, right? So I take that as good feedback, like whether it gets like not the engagement I'm looking for or whether it like cranks it out of the park. I'm paying attention to those signs. And that's what I want you guys to start thinking about, is like, this is trial and error. So don't take it personally. Think of it more of, I need to test more and put myself out there in a few different ways. So different things, like even I've tried putting GIFs out there instead of images. I've tried different headlines with like the same post. I try different color schemes. I post at different times a day. Like there's so many things that are in our control, but it's about being intentional with it and not taking it personally, because we need to be able to put ourselves out there to really make a good concerted effort at this. Next is marketing is actually a conversation. So it's not just for us to put something out there and then expect a flood of responses back. Marketing is a back and forth. And you guys may have heard this before, but it will take someone at least 6 times to see something before they like really notice it and decide to take action. So when you're putting your posts out there for your emails or anything that you're tweaking and curating content-wise, just know that it is a back and forth dialogue. And I'll give you guys an example of this. I send out email series, and I'm always very interested to know, like, where in that email series did people actually feel like, yeah, this is right for me and I need to take action. That doesn't come in the first email. Like, it is this dialogue that goes back and forth on, with that customer. And in terms of, Kat, your question here, when do you recommend the best time to post? What I'm saying is that it's trial and error, and everyone's market is different. So there's not a guidebook that, that's out there for your business specifically. You have to test. That really is what, looking at your business as it's trial and error. And then having this back and forth dialogue with your ideal customer. Because think about it this way, when your ideal customer has a limiting belief in their head, they think like they don't have time to work out. You are not going to be able to move them towards action unless you can show them that belief is not the case, that it actually only takes 20 minutes to work out and you can get things done really effectively and efficiently. So you're always going to be going back and forth, and marketing is a conversation. Lastly, this process is an open feedback loop. So I've been talking to my ideal customers now for 2.5 years, and it's constantly evolving, right? It's not just like you nail your ideal customer, game over, you're good, and you never have to think about it again. It literally is something that I am constantly looking at the language of my ideal customers. I'm constantly adding it to my research into my files, like swipe files, which we're going to talk about. You are constantly adding to that list of that feedback that's coming in. It's not a start and stop. You've got to be constantly in tune with it, because think about it this way. If we look at the situation with COVID, that's a pivot, right? All of a sudden, every Beachbody coach out there, that dialogue is changing a bit, right? They're looking for different things. They need different support. That's the exact same with all your ideal customers out there. That language is changing and evolving on a consistent basis. So think of it as a living, breathing thing. Your ideal customer is not just, I hate when people say like, oh, your ideal customer avatar. Like, it's not a static image of this person on your wall that that never changes and evolves, right? It's constantly changing and evolving. And it's up to us to really own knowing how that person is changing and evolving. It's a living, breathing thing. So when you care enough to create value for your customers, if you get that part right, selling is easy. I can't express how important that is. When your number one job is to care about the value you're creating, you really don't have to do any selling. Like, you will know before your ideal customer what is important to them. So therefore, they come to you and they just have, they come to you with exactly the solution that they need. And it's up to you to be able to tie that together for them and show them how your solution provides exactly what they're looking for. So I do really, truly believe it all comes down to caring enough for your customers that you get to know them and you really understand what kind of value they want from you and how you can provide that. So I want you guys to take a second here. Now, in your handout, there's a spot for you to be able to write down what would your life be like if you were attracting people like magnets? So I want you to either write that down in your handout if you prefer to just like jot that down, or you can write it in the comments here. So I'm just going to give you guys like a minute to go ahead and do that. And in the meantime, all right, and then for the people in, whoops. Awesome. Okay, perfect. So freaking amazing. Love it. Um, yeah, I really want you guys to take a second to think about this. Like, if people just were naturally drawn to you, how would that change things? And where would your focus be, right? Like, you probably wouldn't be focused on trying to find people to come to you anymore. You would be really focused on just doing what you do best, right? Like being in that flow state, focusing on what you love to focus on, and people would just be coming to you, right? So yeah, so if you guys need more time, definitely take some time after the call to think about that. Less stressful for sure. Because yeah, like what ends up happening is when we start worrying about how people are coming to us, we do get less focused on serving them, which is a problem, right? So that's why in this workshop today, you're going to see these four components. That's really going to help you focused on knowing your people so well that attracting them becomes like the easiest part of what you do. Okay, awesome. All right, guys. So now we're gonna dive in. Now that we've covered a couple of key things just off the bat, there, get everyone in the right mindset. Oh, I love this. My group would be full of paying customers who are taking action, being open-minded, seeking ways to be powerful every day. I love that, Alyssa. And this is going to be really important as we dive into this next part of getting really, really clear. So if hopefully everyone if you have the handout, we're going to start referring back to it. And you can always fill out this information after as well if you like, but the handout is available. I've put it in Social Selling Mastery for those in the Facebook group, and then the Zoom group, just check the chat there. The handout is there as well. Okay, so let's start with you. This whole process of finding your ideal customer, it always starts with you. And the reason that is that if you don't start with you and who you like to hang out with and who you like to be with, then you're never going to build this like audience of like raving fans of people that you actually want to spend time with. And that's a problem, right? So the more that you love your customers and the people you deal with, the more that you're going to want to engage with your business. So it's so important that we start with you. If you want to find true passion in your business, then you need to know where you like to spend your time. So we have certain activities throughout our day that either really fill us full of energy and like pump us up, or we also have activities that like suck our energy out and they don't feel very fulfilling, or when we know we have to do certain things, it just like we sort of like shut down a bit, right? So it's really important to start paying attention to what those things are. So I want you guys to think about what would your ideal day look like? And I was going to have you guys do this, like I was going to go through the questions and then have you guys do this, but I'd sort of prefer you to think about that right now. So you see this on your page, right? This is like time of day and activity. So I want to give you a couple of minutes now to think about this. So what time do you wake up in the morning in your ideal day? What's the first thing that you start your day with? And then what are some of the things that if you could build your dream schedule, what would it look like? There was a podcast episode I just did with Nicole Milkey where we talked about this. And so in her ideal day, she said, I'm starting with my workout and then I'm getting my development in right away because I need to feel like I'm developing myself to feel really good. And then I'm serving value to people, like I'm giving back in some way. So I want you guys to think about that and to start filling that out. I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes here to start filling out that ideal day to make sure that we all have those key things that make us feel filled up included there. So just go ahead and take a few minutes here, guys. And if you don't have the handout, I'll just pull this up for you. This is what it looks like here. Maybe another thing, if anyone's struggling with this, my husband and I came up with something called Lord PH, which is love, outsourcing, revenue, development, personal, health. And that is like a perfect day for us if we can knock all those things off. So if that helps anyone, that might be another way to think about it. What things that you need to get done in your day to feel like, you feel really good and like you filled all your buckets up. So when you're done, just comment in the comments "done" there for me. Yeah, Lord PH. So love, outsourcing, revenue, development, personal, health. Those are the that's what Lord PH stands for. Yeah, for sure. We've tried to do fillable PDFs and they haven't always worked for us, so we went a bit old school with this one. Okay, so yeah, just comment there when you're done filling this out. And you can fill it out on a piece of paper. That's fine too. All right. The P in Lord PH is personal. Yeah, so love, outsourcing, revenue, development, personal, and health. So for those of you guys that are maybe wondering, like, what might that look like? So if I'm planning out my day, sometimes, like for me, the time doesn't matter as much when I do it. It's just that I fill all those buckets. So it could be like love would be like making sure our little guy gets out for a walk and we play ball with him. Outsourcing could be something that I have my team do for me, or like, your mom or like someone or your husband or whoever like helps you with something. Revenue might be like, oh, I've got to make sure I get that, like emails out today. Development is, I'm going to make sure that I watch that video or this course. And then personal could be, for me, I love crime podcasts. So like I might listen to a crime podcast. And then health is always my workout, like doing some sort of like workout, whether it's yoga, strength training, or cardio. Yeah, so there, Amy, there is just the PDF itself. So you can either print it or you can download it and then use like a PDF editor to fill in your comments, or you can just write it down on a piece of paper for now. Okay, so what I want you guys to look at when you're thinking about your ideal day is what are the things that when we dig a little bit deeper, you actually, when you look at your development, what things do you like to develop yourself on? So like thinking about some of those answers, right? For me, it's always been things around like writing, sending emails, like copywriting. Like I'm obsessed with like words and how they move people to action. So you want to be thinking about that. Like, what do you really, and I'd love to see in the comments here, guys, what do you love to develop yourself on? Like, what is a really easy thing that you could like spend hours doing? And then the other question I have for you guys is, when you think about like what you like doing. Oh, I love it. Video content and training. Love it. When you think about giving value to someone else, where do you love to spend your time? Like if you could teach someone anything, what would you be teaching them? Like, would you be teaching them how to cook in the kitchen? Would you be teaching them how to like organize their pantry so that they're successful? Leadership, those are great answers. Science of habits, like, yes, these are like really, really good things to tune into, because nutrition and meal prep, that's going to help you focus in. Like, you would never want to work with somebody that like wanted something different than your lane of where you like to spend your time. So if you're somebody like, for me, I love training and simplifying things. So I want people to come to me for those types of training. If you want to know, how the Instagram algorithm is put together in the tech side, like that's just never going to be me. I'm never going to be wanting them to do that. Winner's mindset, love it. I'd be teaching them how to master their time. Meal planning for real life. Like really, really pay attention to what your answer is here, because that is going to be where your sweet spot is, like where you want to actually spend more of your time, right? So everyone should really feel strongly about something that they can offer and that they love, like you could talk endlessly about. It's really important in this formula. So once we figure out that component, and it may take like a little more time than just what we've talked about today, after you've figured out your ideal day and where you most want to spend your time, then you want to look at what do you actually value in people. So what this means is, so for example, if we're going back to the handout here for a second, what do you value in people? For me, I value people that can Google it. So I don't know if you guys know what I mean by that, but it drives me bananas when I get a question that's literally like could be typed in Google. So I value people that will, like, when they come to me and they're like, okay, I've tried this, and this, but I'm missing this component. Like, can you help me out with this? Or like, do you have any resources for me? So I really value people that know how to put in the work, because, building an online business is not an easy process. And I really, truly believe that if you don't know how to use Google, that is to your detriment. So that is something I really value in people. Another thing, and maybe another way to phrase this is, what do you think is really important for them to be successful in this journey that you're going to be taking them on? So I'd love to see in the comments what you guys think here. I also think about, I don't like time vampires. So that's another thing I value, when people are respectful of my time and when they don't waste time. That's something that's important to me. Another thing would be, I really, I enjoy when people are positive. Love it. Taking care of themselves first. When people are negative, or they go down this path of like, creating like a fuss about something and they're not kind and caring, I have no tolerance for that. So that is something I very much value in people. If they're not kind with their words, like I don't have room for that in my life. So that's something that's really important to me, that they are kind and caring and they really truly have a goal to help others. So you want to be thinking about all of these values that are really important to you. What do you value in people? So just take a sec to fill that section out here. I love that. Lynn, program followers, people that can plug in. Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of coaches. It's like, you just rather have somebody that can follow instructions. So these are some other really good examples. An optimist. Yes, love that. Maybe another thing here is like, you value people that, this is something I personally value. I value people that take ownership. I really don't like it when I was a personal trainer, people would come in and be like, I did everything you said and I'm still not losing weight. Be like, okay, like, let's back up the truck here. Like, there's always more that we can do. So let's just be real about it and let's have a look at your food diary, and let's have a look at your water intake, and let's just, be kind to ourselves here. And so, yeah, those are some important things to think about as well. I value people who have a healthy competitive spirit and grit. I love that. Resourceful, open to try new things, ambitious, driven. They follow instructions. Absolutely. These are all super important things. Don't give up on themselves. Yeah, absolutely. So this list, guys, you might just keep on building it, which is totally cool. Keep thinking about what you value in people, because what happens is you'll value something in someone, and what happens is when the opposite is not present, it totally turns you off. You'll never want to work with that person. So that's why it's so important to nail this, because when you're starting to craft your posts, like and tweak language and things, you can always fall back on this to say, I love people who don't give up on themselves. And if that's you, you're who I'm looking for. Like, you can start to craft your message around exactly what you're looking for. And the opposite is true as well. Like, if you say, no need to apply if, you don't like to follow plans, you like to blame others, and something else, right? Like that list of 3. So that's something else you can think about there. Okay, next question here is around, how do you actually like to help others? Oh, I love that non-victim mentality. How do you like to help others? So this kind of goes back to when we were putting together our schedule, thinking about this question of what could you do and what could you easily teach someone? I like to think of it that way as well. Like, what could you spend hours teaching someone? So I'll give you guys an example of this, because I do think it needs to be specific. When people come to me and they're like, hey, can you help me with my Instagram bio? I'm like, no, I can't. Like, you can Google that. No, not my forte. But if they have questions, like, I would get giddy about doing the training on the research component of how to find the right keywords and how to make sure your bio causes people to take action. And the more anything that has to do with converting, that is my forte. That's what I love to think about and to talk about and to test. Whereas when it's stuff that people can Google, I would rather they Google it than ask me. So thinking about that, yes, absolutely. You guys will have a lot of similarities in what you're looking for. And I think that, or what you're looking for in your own lives, right? As coaches, as people in the fitness industry, I think that those values are super similar. They can be. And the other thing is to think about, how you like to help others, but also what makes you sort of annoyed. That's important too, right? So really thinking about, how do you actually like to help others? Okay, and then you've got some more space here in the handout just to fill in any of those answers. Again, this is a living, breathing thing. So it's really important that you continue to add to it. And is this for attracting customers? This is for coaches, absolutely too. When you're attracting customers and coaches, because think about it this way. When you add a coach to your team that, for me, let's say they can't Google it and they ask me for everything and they don't watch the videos I give them and stuff like that, that's going to drive me up the wall, right? Same for you guys. Whatever you're attracted to, you want to have the same coaches on your team that know that operate in that same way. You're not going to want to have to teach them to Google it, right? If that's your thing. So that's a really, really good point. Everything we're talking about with ideal customers flows through to ideal coaches as well. Absolutely. Great point. Okay. So I've given you guys some time, as I said, in between, to sort of refer back and forth to the handout. Does anyone have any additional ideas on how they like to help others, or what drives them a bit crazy? That's a good one too, if you guys have any of those. Okay, cool. Well, we'll move on then to step number 2. Okay, define your ideal customer avatar as best you can. So what I mean by this is that, overthinkers, yes. what I mean by this one with as best you can is that you're not going to have the exact science behind this, right? You are really going to be guessing a little bit here and gathering the intel that you have so far. This is going to change, right? So it's just important to remember that this will sort of go back and forth. So that's an important piece of this. It's a living, breathing thing. So if you want to authentically build connections, then you need to know who you actually want to attract. We need to know ourselves, and then we need to know who we want to bring into our circles so that we can help more of those people. So these are the questions we want to answer. Who do you love working with? What kind of people do you love helping? And who are you naturally already attracted to? So if we flip back here to our handout, these are the questions. I actually provided you guys with some examples. So what I'm going to do is sort of the same style here. I'm going to ask these questions. I'm going to give you guys an example, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of time to write it out. So the first question is, who do you love working with? What kind of people do you love helping? Who are you naturally attracted to? This is your ideal customer, and they may or may not be a former version of who you used to be before Beachbody. I have heard people say like, oh, an ideal customer I was told is always me before. It usually is like one or two steps before, but if you think of it this way, when I first got started, I didn't start off as a Beachbody coach. I'm a discount coach now. I help people in a different way, and I work all with coaches. But I didn't start off as a coach, so it's not always the exact same circumstance, but I've always been in the fitness industry, so that like tie is there. I've always loved marketing and learning more about how to simplify it, so that has always been there. So here's an example. I love to work with moms who have young kids at home. They know they need to create balance in their lives and are very busy. They know they need to make their health a priority. I don't need to convince them. And they want to lose 20 to 30 pounds to get back into their pre-baby weight. They're committed to changing their routine, are emotional eaters, and are willing to exercise for 30 minutes per day. And she's also willing to spend money on her health. So I want you guys to think about that for a second and write down that answer. And you can put it in the comments if you like, or write it on your handout or a sheet of paper there. Who do you love working with, and what kind of people do you love helping? So I'll just give you guys a minute or two there to write that down. And then when you're done, for those of you that are commenting, I'll take it as a sign when you guys pop it in the chat here that you've done it. There we go. Okay. So we've got, I struggle because I attract many people who are the person I was 5 years ago, 100 pounds and overweight. My heart is still with those people, but now I want to attract where I am now, a busy mom who wants to take her fitness to the next level. I guess I'm not speaking to those people. Well, I think that what you want to do, this is a really good question. I think what you want to do is you're attracting people that are at the place you were because they're seeing that transformation, right? That before and after, and you're giving them hope that they can do it too. So you want to, I think naturally you're always going to attract those people, but maybe there's an underlying value that is there with the people that you want to attract people now where you are. But I think what is it? I guess the question is, are there people that you're attracting now that don't fit into who you want to attract? Thinking about it that way, because I think that there can be, you know, I think that there can be people out there like that we can still help, no matter where we are in our journey, but there's an underlying value there that's driving us a bit crazy, right? So, and Alyssa, you're saying that too. You feel guilty for wanting to shift. It's not about feeling, like I don't think, you guys are entitled to help whoever you want. The real question here is thinking about when you are attracting people that are your former version of yourself, what is it that's annoying you about some of those people? That's a real question, right? Because if they were easy to work with and they believed you and they just did what you said, you'd probably be a lot happier, I'm guessing. So there's some underlying value there that you can still help those people, but there's a value is out of alignment there. Hopefully that makes sense for those people that are struggling with that. I'm just going to read some of these other ones here. I love working with those that want to be their best selves and are ready to make changes. I love helping others find ways to make their lives better. Naturally attracted to people with a sense of humor, a bit sarcastic but loving, who help themselves and want to learn more. Yeah, love it. Okay, that it's hard and how much work it is. For sure. Yeah, absolutely. So I think that when we think about who we love working with and what kind of people do you love helping, our values are very much attached to this, right? So there may be people that we are naturally not wanting to, I guess, draw in because they're an energy suck or a time suck, or you feel like you have to convince them to put their health first. That totally makes sense. That's a value thing, not where someone is on their journey. So I think just being really clear on that, if that makes sense. Okay, I'll read a couple of these and then we'll move on to the next question. Former athletes, mamas who usually coach their kids' sports teams, they love soccer and basketball. It's okay to skip a workout to catch a playoff game or the World Cup. I love that. That's so clear and concise with who we're looking for. She has a fierce competitive spirit, loves to win. She still plays in a recreation league and she wants her fitness to match her competitiveness. She understands that winners train and she will invest in her training to get the win. Love that. Okay, and then we've got, I love to work with women who have significant weight loss, or weight to lose, 50 to 100 pounds. They're positive in mindset and cheerleaders for themselves, but don't always believe in themselves. Feel they have enough support in their current situation. They're willing and ready to invest because their life goals are of high value to them. I love that. That's great, Lynn. And then Jen, I love working with women who don't necessarily believe in themselves or don't see their full potential. I like to be able to empower and help them gain the confidence they deserve. Okay, guys, these are really good answers. I think the one underlying thing here to really keep in mind, you guys are all doing a great job of this. It's like just thinking about those values that are really important to you and not being afraid to also incorporate, like, I want to help, for example, I want to help moms who have young kids at home that are busy. I don't have time for people that can't make time for themselves. Like, it's okay to speak what you believe, right? When it comes to that stuff, I think that both the positive attributes and then those other attributes of, like, if somebody cannot see why investing in themselves is important, I feel like that is not always, like, that's just one example. That is not a space that I would want to get into, right? Yeah, you guys will have access to this later as well. Yeah, so that's an important piece too, right? Is understanding the yin and the yang here. For me, if somebody is not willing to do the work, I can't help them. So I love people that are willing to dig in and do the work, right? So it's important to look at both sides of that equation when you're going through these questions. Okay, so what kind of people? Let's go to the next question. What kind of people do you love helping? And you guys have been nailing this. Like, we have another example here, former moms who worked in corporate and now her kids are in school and she wants to make income but doesn't want to go back to the 9-to-5 grind. Love it. Like, super specific. We just want to be thinking about what these people do. I love working with moms that are in the same boat as me. Someone that has the drive and determination to truly better themselves without neglecting their kids. Someone that wants to be a fit mom but struggles with utilizing their extra time to invest in themselves. Love it. All great stuff. Okay, and then that last question here, who are you naturally attracted to? So we've combined all three of those questions into our answer here. So get really clear here and keep adding to this. I think it's a really important piece, because when you guys look at all these answers that you've come up with, your target is specific, right? It helps, like, knowing who you want to work with is going to like narrow the lanes a bit into how you're going to talk to them and who you actually want to attract. So that is an important piece. Next, we're going to get as specific as possible. So here we are looking at give her a name so we can speak directly to her. How old is she? Does she have kids? What's her marital status? Job, vehicle, fears, day-to-day activities, things she can't live without, things that keep her up at night. So what we're sort of doing here, guys, is, I know this question can be hard because I've seen it before and been like, ugh, like, where do I get this information? I always thought of someone specific, and then I built my answers around that person. So in this example, we have Maria's 32 and she has 2 kids, Avery and Ella, 2 and 4. She's married and her husband works shift work. She's a stay-at-home mom, drives a green Subaru Forester because she likes adventure. She went to college to become a dental hygienist but decided to stay home with the kids. She's afraid of her daughter having body image issues as she gets older, and setting good example for her kids is really important to her. She worries about her kids' health and the eating habits her and her husband have. She loves family time and dinner on Sundays when her husband isn't working, and she's often solo parenting. So I think the best way to come up with this answer, as I said, is to like think of somebody specific that falls into your ideal customer avatar. If you think of a person that you've worked with in the past that you loved working with, think of them and start writing the story out for them. And if you haven't found anyone that you like specifically fits this ideal customer, maybe you haven't worked with them yet, but maybe there is someone out there that you can think of that has those same traits you're looking for, right? Or this is where a former version of yourself may come into play if you're using that strategy. So I'm just going to give you guys a minute to think about this and then pop your answers there in the comments. Okay, and Kat, you're saying this is where you get stuck. The marital status, like, it's not a make or break thing one way or another. You just may find the more you talk to people, the more that you talk to people that are one or the other. It's not really a thing that needs to hold you back, if that makes sense. Like, I have people in both boats, right? But it's just that the more things that this is about being able to visualize the person on the other side of the table that you're speaking to. It's about being really, really clear with who that person is so that you can have a direct conversation with them. That's what it's about. So, the more research you do on this, the more that you're going to get unstuck with it and just see the patterns that are there to be observed, if that makes sense. Okay, cool. Anyone have any questions about this, or are we good to move on? Good. Okay. Okay, it's me before or made up. Well, this is where, it can be either, right? Like, this can be, if you don't have an ideal customer that you work with now, so let's put it this way. If you have an ideal customer that you work with now, this for me would be them. If you already have somebody that drinks the Kool-Aid, drinks the Shaco, does VOD, does every program, like the most ideal of situations, I would write about that person. If it's not, if you don't have that person, then yeah, maybe it is you. And know that this is going to tweak and change, right? This is just getting really clear. Because what we're going to be doing when you're crafting your post, you're speaking directly to that person. Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So what's happening in her life that creates urgency around her needing you and around needing that accountability and support? So what we're thinking about here is like, what is causing her to like feel uncomfortable? So this example that we're thinking about now is probably going to be different, like in the current, current climate we're in, with helping people. And this is what's really important to understand about crafting posts and tweaking things, is that this will always change, right? The urgency right now just might be sanity. Like, we're home all the time. We're trying to navigate homeschooling kids and navigating having a partner probably working from home. In her case, like, that's where we want to think about, is her partner also, at home with her? Like, what does he do? Is he, all these sorts of things. And then we can come up with this answer of what's happening in her life that creates urgency around her needing you and needing this community, needing accountability, and needing support. So if you think of this, this is why it's so helpful to have this person up here that you are directly talking to, is then when you go to answer this question, it becomes easy to picture that life that is surrounding her and what's going on around her. So she just may feel like right now life is crazy and not having, that same outlet of like doing things for yourself, or maybe that community support. She may really feel that she needs something else, right? I think there's a lot of people that feel like that right now, that want that extra community and want that support because they're not getting it from the same means they're used to. Okay. She's got an upcoming soccer tournament. She wants to crush it. Love it. Yeah. So does anyone have any questions? Oh, is it weird that this part is easier? No, I mean, I think that makes sense. Like it all, for all of us, we may have understanding of different pieces of the puzzle in a different order. The point is that the more that you start to dig into this stuff, the more that the research is going to either back this up or like tell you if you're on the right path or not. So it all like comes together once you dig through this stuff. So what's happening in her life that creates urgency around her needing you right now? Okay. Next, we're going to move into what does her life before look like? So this is where things get really interesting, because the more in tune you are with answering these questions, the more that you will be able to tweak your posts before every Beachbody launch. So what I mean by that is that every launch that you guys have, like whether it's 10 rounds, whether it's bar blend, the work, all those sorts of things, your ideal customer, it changes, right? Like somebody that would be jumping into bar blend is going to be someone totally different than somebody maybe that would be into the work, let's say, right? So whenever you are doing like you're launching a new product, you go through these questions again, right? Like when you think about your ideal customer. So this is something I never felt like was properly explained in the beginning when I would start digging into this stuff, is that you have one ideal customer and it never changes. Well, that's not the case. When you look at your solution and what you're selling, absolutely, like things change, right? So when you think about her before experience, and that will depend on like what you're putting out there right now. What things is she experiencing that are causing pain in her life? What are her feelings, frustrations, and circumstance? Yeah, Tanya, your people, the work was like, and even 10 rounds feels like it's like that high athletic training, like those are your people. So this is about thinking about, what is your person feeling? What are their frustrations and circumstances? So an example here would be she has no energy throughout the day and often just eats what the kids eat, grilled cheese, animal crackers, etc. She doesn't fit into most of her clothes anymore, and this drives her crazy. She's frustrated and feels like she doesn't have much time, but knows she needs to get her weight under control. It's been 2 years and she wants to feel good in her skin again. She lacks confidence that she once had and doesn't feel sexy anymore. She wants to feel alive again. So that is what we're looking for here. What does this before life look like for her? And this is another really good point here. No one wanted to join the work, which is my kind of workout, but people reaching out to me daily for barre. So that's telling you that your audience might be like they're different than maybe something that you would naturally be drawn to. And guys, that is really normal. Like, think about it this way. If I think of myself as, I've got my ideal customers on my right and what I like to do on my left, when I'm going to be attracted to a course or something like that, it's going to be pretty high level, right? It's going to be about, like Facebook pixels, like getting conversions down, crushing it in email, all that sort of stuff. But when I'm talking to my ideal audience and when I'm talking to you guys, like, I'm going to do stuff that, like, I'm going to help you not become overwhelmed. We're going to keep it super basic, and I'm going to just teach you the things that work. So hopefully that example sort of makes sense, right? Our own interests, like your interests might be just on a much different scale than who you're typically attracting. So it's really good that you're just paying attention to that, right? That's really important because we can't always just sit down and write a post like we're talking to someone like us, especially if you're starting to notice these things. And it could be clues that you've attracted a different audience than who you are now. No one wanted to join the work or 10 rounds or 21 extreme. So that may just be that is not your audience, right? And like that happens. That's totally fine. It's like meeting people where they are. And you know what? Like, you may end up having like two different groups. You may end up having a more advanced group that you serve and they want to do exactly what you're doing. And you may have another group that are beginners that are like, just teach me how to meal prep. Teach me how to eat. Totally fine. It's just meeting your ideal customer where they're at and getting really clear on what that before journey looks like for them. Okay. So next we're going to move into what are her limiting beliefs. Why does she think she can't achieve her goals? So guys, when you dig into these questions about what's the before, what are her limiting beliefs, and what's the after, this is when I think it's really cool when you pair this up with what you're launching. Because let's just do an example here, and let's say we're going to do 10 rounds as our example. The before experience here might be that someone is, this mom is at home in quarantine. She is feeling super frustrated. She wasn't going to the gym before, so like that hasn't like totally changed her routine. But she's like feeling like she does have some extra time now because she's not commuting. And the kids are driving her maybe a little bit crazier than usual. And she does feel like, well, maybe if I'm going to start something now would be a good time. Right? So that's how you would kind of formulate that before. Like, she's looking for some way to sort of take out that maybe frustration and just like that anxiety that's sort of lingering in the air with being home. So next, you're going to think about what are her limiting beliefs? Why does she think she can't achieve her goals? What things does she believe are getting in the way of her going from her before to after? Okay, so this is where, again, let's say we have 10 rounds in mind. Write down 5 things she may be thinking about. Well, I want to work out, but I don't really know how. I don't have any equipment. I can't get to a gym. I'm really out of shape. And I know that programs and stuff are typically expensive, so I'm not really sure how I'd be able to afford it. So those are just 5 I've just come up with. But I want you guys to think about this and write these answers down or put them in the chat. What are her limiting beliefs? Yes, and you guys already know these, right? You hear them consistently, so write those down. I'm just going to answer this question for Jen. How do you attract both moms and non-moms? I'm a young mom with an 11-year-old, but most women my age have young kids. How do I find that balance? Well, Jen, I think it's about deciding who you're going to talk to and then just talking to them, right? Like, I think that you're probably going to want to talk to young moms, um, like, because if you talk to everyone, you talk to no one. So just pick a focus of who you actually like dealing with. Don't worry about not including everyone. That's not, I don't think you need to find balance in that, because you want to be really, really specific with who you're talking to. That's really important, because you'll get people that will still reply to your posts when you put that stuff out there. But the more targeted you are, the more that you stand out in a sea of sameness, right? Oh, I love these. Okay. So the no time excuse, mom guilt, I always fail, nothing's worked before, why will this be different? I hate exercising. I can't have success in more than one area. Yes. Okay. Not knowing their worth. Yeah. Like, I don't think I deserve that time. Whatever those limiting beliefs are, guys, we want to be thinking about them with every like Beachbody launch, whatever you're doing. And this could be too, let's say you're launching a new community. You're still going to think about these questions. Okay, so next we're going to move on to which limiting beliefs do you hear or believe you will hear most often? So just trying to like put the ones that sort of rise to the top, discouraged by a partner or spouse, for sure. So we want to think about the ones that we know, like with 10 rounds, for example, if that was our one that we were using, that will definitely come up. I'm always self-sabotaging. Yeah, these are all good ones. So yeah, you're thinking about the two that you hear the most often. I mean, I always, from the coaches I work with, I usually hear money and time, like those are the two. But for you, it might be different. Like, you just want to pay attention to what you hear most often from those customers. And the other thing you want to do is get their language. When we say something like they don't know their worth, is that actually what they say? Because language is really, really important. The way that someone phrases something is so very important. They've chosen those words for a reason. I can't afford it. I don't have time. So we're going to get into swipe files here in a minute, but you want to legit start copying and pasting those conversations you're having with people so you can figure out which limiting beliefs are coming up the most often and how do they word it. That's really important here, okay? Okay, so we want to sort of pick those two that stand out the most. And then we want to think about what will be your ideal customer's after experience. In terms of after they join you and start using the product. So let's say 10 rounds is, again, what we're going with this example. How does her life change for the better? What feelings, circumstances, and aha moments come from these positive changes? So in this example, I had used a 21-day fix, but I'm going to switch it up to the 10 rounds. So because she'll be able to get her workouts in at home, she won't need as much time to get in shape. She'll be able to complete 10 rounds and see a huge change just from working out. I believe it's 4 to 5 days a week, and to be able to work out from home. So she'll be able to lose some weight, which is going to give her a ton of confidence. She's been missing all those years. She'll start to dress differently and feel better and get back to who she used to be. She'll find the food prep easier with the containers and even influence her husband to start eating better too. She'll start to take out those frustrations of feeling alone and being at home, and finally start to feel like she's got a community of women standing behind her. And with the extra accountability and support from a coach, she's going to feel much more connected in this time, right? So that's an example of the after, how she's going to feel after she starts using the product that you're recommending. So I'm going to give you guys a sec here to fill this out, and then post your answers there so we can have a quick look. Oh yeah, that's a great point. I feel that cannot afford this is she doesn't see the value. So Yeah, keep the language intact. That's a really good catch on that. It's really important that we keep the language as they say it. That's going to connect with them more than us changing it, right? Okay, cool. Does anyone have any questions on this? Or are you guys making out all right? All right. So, guys, I'm going to move on to this is something that is called formulating your hypothesis. So, this is where this works really well is that when you're launching a product and you're wanting to talk about, you're wanting to really hit home with your ideal customer, then you need all these key points intact to it's sort of, they call it in marketing, like this is a key insight. And all that really means is that we're linking in the limiting belief that they have with what we recommend and the results that they've always wanted. Okay. So don't worry if this is a more complex, concept to get your head wrapped around. This has taken me a long time of just practicing it to get better and better and better at it. So this specific scripting that we're coming up with is let's say you're launching 10 rounds to your ideal customers. You're going to have this written out so that before you write or tweak any post or tweak any email, you're going to look back at this to make sure that your messaging is on point. So here is an example of formulating your hypothesis. So the limiting belief here is that I don't have the willpower to stick to a diet. That's what this woman is saying. What we recommend, or what I recommend, is that you actually address your weight loss goals by focusing on your mindset around food. So as you guys might be able to see, in this example, I'm tying it to be mindset. I'll give you guys one other example where I tie it to 10 rounds. What they've always wanted is to get to the root cause of why they can't lose weight and keep it off. This is just rattling around in their brain all the time. They feel like they don't have the willpower, and they just want to get to the root of how they can actually lose weight. So how we're going to overcome that limiting belief is we're going to tell them it isn't about willpower, but your relationship with food that is what is standing in the way of you actually achieving your goals. So what this does, when we overcome a limiting belief, we're almost taking the blame off of them. It's not about willpower, it's about this instead. And then the results they want is to lose weight without much effort and with lasting results. So we want to come up with these, they are in your handout because that's what I'm looking at. So you'll be able to fill these out. When you think about a specific program. So let's do an example here of 10 rounds. So the limiting belief is I just don't have the time, I don't have the time to work out right now. Okay. What we recommend, or what I recommend, is that you actually use the time you're not commuting and that you're at home to actually get your workouts in. What they've always wanted was to really figure out how to master their time and get their workouts in. And one other point here, what I would recommend is that when you work out from home, you don't have to go to the gym, which saves you a bunch of time. So to overcome that limiting belief, I would say it isn't about getting to the gym, but it's figuring out how to get a really good workout in your living room so you don't even have to leave the house. The result that they want is she wants to lose some weight without really having to go to the gym and with lasting results. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about the hypothesis here that we're putting together? Or can I make anything more clear for you guys here? Because what we're going to do is then we're going to take this, and this is basically like how this works is you have a before picture of your ideal customer and you have an after, and your hypothesis is what you believe they need to do to make the change to go from before to after. That's what we're putting together here, right? And the more that you know what this connection is and you can really strengthen it, then the easier it is for you to really speak to this and make sure your posts are tweaked towards this, okay? So the next part here is when your ideal customer does what you recommend. So for example, in our case, when you start to work out from home, they can achieve the goals they've always wanted. They can actually start to lose weight without having to go to the gym because it finally helps them overcome what's been holding them back. Because it doesn't actually require a lot of time to work out from home when you don't have to commute to the gym. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is this whole thing here from limiting belief to here, I'm going to take this and I am going to, every time I write a post, let's say I'm launching 10 rounds and it starts in 6 weeks. Every time I tweak a post, I'm going to be focusing in on what my ideal customers believe, what they've always wanted, what beliefs I need to overcome, and what's been holding them back, how I've gotten results. But I'm going to tweak it towards knowing that I want to get them into 10 rounds and that 10 rounds is a good solution for them. Yeah, that's awesome, Kat. I'm glad to hear that. It really is amazing when you start to understand why these things really matter. Right? Like the before, the after, and your hypothesis of how your ideal customer is going to get there. Because here's the thing, it's your job when you're tweaking your posts and when you're coming up with your messaging to help explain, like people are going to be stuck in limiting belief. They're just stuck there, right? And it's up to us to help them see why we recommend something, why it's going to help them, what they've always wanted, how it overcomes that belief that that belief is not real, and then helping them get the results they want. So here's another example here. When you address your weight loss goals by focusing on your mindset around food, you address the root cause of years of habits that stood in your way, and you can finally eliminate the relationship problems you've had with food, which allows you to lose weight without much effort and lasting results. So that would be an example I would use for To Be Mindset, right? That what's holding them back is actually their mindset around food, and they want to lose weight, but they're not sure how. So Tanya, do you make a hypothesis for each before? So here's how I would do it is that there are certain seasons in the Beachbody coaching world that we launch new programs. Anytime that you're launching a new program, I would go through this activity. The before, the hypothesis, and the after. So then all your messaging during that, 2 or 3 month time period is catered towards who you want to attract for that program, right? Now, maybe that's not the only call to action you have. Maybe you're also like trying to get people in your free community. Obviously, that's going to be a thing. Those posts are going to be tweaked differently and speak to a different before and after and hypothesis. So I think it comes down to how many calls to action do you really have right now, right? So I'll give you one other example here. If I'm recruiting people, let's say, to join my mastermind program that I have, that's going to be a different where they're at before and where they get to after than if I just want them to join Business Bootcamp, my free community. So I speak to them differently, right? Their before and afters are different. So that's where we start to tweak this language so that it speaks directly to them. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Start using this for, muscle burns fat. Yeah, by doing this activity. Would we have different ideal customers? Yes, Kat, exactly. You have different ideal customers for different launches. When you think about To Be Mindset or you think about, like T20, very different ideal customers. So we become adaptable in how we speak to our audience. And Dana, you said never understood the ideal customer thing before. Does this make sense? Like, are you guys like starting to see how all the tweaking that happens, it relates back down to this, right? It relates back to your before, your after, and what you believe will get them over that hump to their goals. That's what we're doing, and that's why it's so important to do this tweaking in our launches. And the more that you know your ideal customer, the more that you know their language, the easier this process becomes. Okay, so we all good there? Yeah, or maybe up-level your current client. Yeah, for sure. Light bulb, yes! Love it. I'm so glad. Amazing. Okay, so guys, what we're going to do now is we've done a lot of like the theory stuff, right? We've talked a lot about what we, okay, good question here, Dana. How would you do it for a free group? Think about your before and your after in the sense of this person is probably just looking to like take baby steps and they really want to start small and they're worried about getting overwhelmed. So the after is that they start to get the right community, the right support, they're surrounded by the right people, and they actually finally become ready to take that first step forward. So your hypothesis is by someone else giving you the value and putting together the recipes, and by putting together like little mini workouts here and there, it's going to help you be able to get started much quicker with your goals. Could be something like that, right? Amazing. Yay. Okay. I love it. This is awesome. So is there a way to link similar values between different ideal customers? There is a way to link values. Like some people might be at a point that they're ready for like something like 10 rounds or something more intense, because the values come in the way that your messaging is portrayed, right? So I think that what I would recommend is when you're thinking about a product launch or something that you're doing, just get really clear on what that person like needs to believe in order to like what is their before and what is the after. And what's going to happen is you're sort of casting a net. There's going to be a bunch of different ideal customers within that net, and you'll be able to pull them in. They'll read your post, it'll resonate with them, and they'll want to join. So, so your value comes in the way your messaging is portrayed. Absolutely. Okay, so guys, we're gonna take everything we've just talked about, and this is where I think a lot of the ideal customer stuff can sometimes it feels fuzzy, is that we assume we know our ideal customer, but we don't back it up with research, right? So this is where like the rubber hits the road and we get really clear on exactly what our ideal customers are actually saying instead of just guessing. So the more that you do the research, the more that your before and your after and your hypothesis get solidified, okay? So if you want to truly find your ideal customer, then you better verify their language and their beliefs. We don't want to just guess at it and leave it at that point. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to interview 10 people. I was so reluctant to doing this at first for myself. But once I did it, I can't believe I never started with this in my business before. So you want to talk to 10 people who fit your target market. These are the questions that you're going to ask them. What are your 3 biggest frustrations in this area, like around weight loss, let's say, or around your fitness goals? What about this keeps you up at night? Like, you could change that question too to, why does this bother you right now? These are the ways you're going to verify your information, right? How important is this for you to handle right now? Have you ever paid for a product or service like this before? If so, what did you pay? What did you like best about it? What frustrates you about buying this kind of product or service? What's a dream solution for you in this area? So this can legit be you send, you can do this based on people you know in real life. If you have some ideal customers that are like friends of yours or people you can reach out to, you can do this, like ask people that you know if they would mind taking a quick survey for you. those sorts of things. That's how you're going to start interviewing people. But what you're really looking for, they could be done as interviews in your free group. Absolutely. Wherever you want to pull people, that's totally fine. You want to get their language here. Now, you may want to change up these questions a little bit so that they're more reflective of how you would ask them. But the point is, we want to get to these answers of knowing if this is urgent for them right now. Why is it urgent? What about it? Like, do they keep thinking about what's holding them back? All those sorts of things. Then we're going to move to interviewing 5 experts. So what this is about is we want to actually interview people who are successful in the industry or type of business you want to work in and look for common threads or themes. So these are some sample questions to get you going. You can ask them, like maybe this is like an upline or another coach you admire, or other people in business that you've seen that have done, like you really admire the following that they've built, right? How did you start your business? What were the first 2 years like? What mistakes did you make? What kind of rates can someone starting out expect to have? What kind of initial capital, if any, does it take to get started? Where did you find your first clients or customers? And what skills are necessary to succeed in this industry? So I started out asking these questions, and it was incredible to have the intel of a bunch of experts give me this information. I felt like it saved so much time. So this is another step I would take, is interviewing some experts and key people you really admire. And to be honest, like the people that are really good people will always make time to like share that information with you, if that makes sense. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is survey your audience on social. So these are the questions that you could ask. Now, you could also ask these questions when they join your Facebook group. Or you can do just like a basic survey on your social media feed or in any of your groups. Or you could send out an email and do this on SurveyMonkey. Like there's so many ways to do this. So here are some example questions you can ask. What's the biggest challenge you're facing right now? What would a dream solution be? How long do you like to work out for? What's your number one fitness goal? How much would you lose if you could lose any amount? How much time do you spend consuming content per day? How do you prefer to learn? Video, podcasting, reading, etc. What is holding you back from achieving your fitness goals? How many days or weeks do you have to work out? What's your favorite kind of workout? Yeah, these are all really good questions. I've even seen somebody do like, if you're 40 plus, answer this question. So if you really want to like segment it, that's another good way to do it. And sorry, Tanya, you can do anyone in your niche. You can do experts in the biz, wherever you feel like you're drawn to that person. The worksheets, great question. They are in the group, but I'll also just share the link with you guys. I don't know if I can actually share it. They're in the Facebook group, but I'll send them out after as well. SurveyMonkey, great question, Kat. SurveyMonkey is like something you can just Google, and then you can like set up a survey and send people a link for it. You could send it through email, however you want to send it. Okay, so that's another way you're going to verify your audience and what their answers are. Check other Facebook groups and forums for language and beliefs. So, like, for example, I'm part of a Facebook group called Women Helping Women that a lot of the times has answers about what people are struggling with marketing. So, yeah, like there's lots of different Facebook groups that you can join and forums. Now, what you're looking for is key language people use and the limiting beliefs that are holding them back. So this just takes a little bit of research to find out. I mean, you might get this intel just from your own Facebook group, but you can also look for it in other groups. Like just try to join any, like, let's say your target market was moms, like moms eating healthy groups or things like that, right? Yeah, the expert interviews are for your own personal information, Tanya. Yeah, that you're trying to like build upon. Okay. Next, we're going to do something called a research matrix. Okay, this thing is like super cool. I love this. So I will, okay, here we go. I'm going to share this with you guys. It will be, when we upload the video, it is going to be also in like a document that we put on the Ashley Shaw website so you guys can access this. So this is typically it's typically an Excel doc. So what you're going to do is you're going to search top 10 books for blank. So whatever it may be, moms, if that's your target, moms who are athletes, if that's your target, whatever it is. And then when you're looking through forums and all those sorts of things, you're also going to fill in the answers. So for me, I know Beachbody coaches love Rachel Hollis. So that's one of them that, like, you know, Girl Wash Your Face or Girl Stop Apologizing. Those are going to be some of the books that I'm going to use in my research matrix as an example. Websites, again, like, so for me, if I was doing my research here, it would be like top books for, let's say, moms wanting to lose weight. Let's just say that was my target market. So I'm going to have a look here, and then I am going to look at all these books here, and I'm going to track those down. I'm going to write those down. That's what I'm doing here. Here's another one, the books that Shape recommends, Weight Watchers, like all these. Yeah, these are going to be easy ones as well to look up. So can you guys see that screen okay? I can see it, that it looks like it's performing fine. I just want to make sure. The hormone reset diet, like the obesity code, getting back to happy. These are prevention. Okay, so here's the other thing that's cool about this research right now. Shape magazine is coming up, and so is prevention, right? So those are going to be easy ones that are you're going to be able to compile in your matrix. So as I mentioned, this Excel spreadsheet will be available in the course material. But you're going to go through all of these to really better understand your market and what they pay attention to, okay? So that is an important piece of doing the research. Now, what's awesome about this is that you can use this in the future for Facebook ads. We're not going to talk about that now, but that's a really important piece of doing enough research on your ideal customer. And then there's a question here, what's the best way to get my ideal customers to answer the survey questions? This is really, it's about posting it at the right time, but you've also got to have the right people in that group. I mean, it's sort of trial and error. You got to put it out there. Maybe you do it through stories. Maybe you do it through a Facebook post. It's just putting it out there, trying it, seeing if you get a response. And if you don't, then maybe you email it. You try different ways, right? Okay, so that is your research matrix. That is how you're going to find books, websites, magazines, blogs, etc. You want to come up with the best things that they're reading, the top 10 podcasts for moms wanting to lose weight. Like, you just change this word, legit. Top podcasts for moms wanting to lose weight. Yeah, we'll make it available in Google Sheets too. So here we go. We've got the Female Perspective, CalCast, Trust and Belief. These are all weight loss podcasts. So we'd want to write those down as well. Okay, so that is your research matrix, and that's how you're going to come up with all of these things, and there will be a template provided. Okay, next, this is probably my favorite one. This is check reviews of products or books related to your research. So what we want to know here is the top, we're going to focus on books, and we're going to look at Amazon. Top books for moms wanting to lose weight, Amazon. Okay, so this is going to bring us to the best sellers of Amazon. So all these right here, this is another way to get your top 10. So let's just say that I like this one here because it's got a lot of reviews. You're going to pop open this book review. You're going to go to the ratings, and you're going to have a look at what people are saying. Oh, there we go. Don't argue with me. This works. This is simply amazing. I've really, okay, so here's where the language comes in. Oh, guys, this is gold. Okay. I have really struggled with major weight fluctuations ever since my first pregnancy back in 2007. Before I got pregnant, I was 119 pounds. At the end of that pregnancy, I was 175. After 2 months after giving birth, I managed to get back down to 120, but it was short-lived. 2 years later, within 3 months, my weight skyrocketed from 120 to 170. I started at 190, worked my butt off at the gym. Okay, look at this language here. Worked my butt off at the gym, counting calories, drinking nothing but water, working out some more, cutting more calories. Like, this language is gold, right? This is somebody that, you know, when we're sometimes trying to find the words, like, this is where having a file or a document of all these things that people say they're doing is so very important. So what you're going to do here, yeah, that is exactly the answer. Top books for moms who want to earn money online. That's exactly it. That's how you're going to do the research for the business opportunity for coaches, right? So this is how you're going to find that language, right? Is you're going to look through, and you're going to find language from these books. And, you know, the more that you do this, the better that you're going to be at recognizing it. Yeah, so let's just do this, like, making money online. I don't know if anything's going to come up for this. We're going to see. There we go. There's only 4 reviews, but this, who knows? Like, there might be some information here. A practical strategy for building a business that allows you to work from home, have flexibility in your schedule, and still make a great living. This is a must read for any single mom struggling to stay afloat financially. So what I would be pulling here is, like, are you trying to stay afloat financially while trying to fit quality time in with your kids? Like, you're pulling it right from there. So when you take this language, yes, you will be using it to attract your ideal customers. Yeah, exactly. So that's how you find the language. So that is about checking the reviews of products and books related to your research, whatever it is you're focused on for your ideal customer. Then you're just going to start building a swipe file. All the things that we, you can definitely use this language. Like, we don't know the language that our ideal customers use unless we verify it, right? Like, oftentimes we go to write a post and we're like, how would I say this best? And then we just blurt something out and cross our fingers and hope we get engagement. It's not the way that actually, like, other people's minds work. So, like, this is eventually going to attract the right people and put them in front of you, right? You've got to put out enough of this stuff to get the right people in front of you. And if you're more advanced, maybe you're playing around with some different hashtags and things like that. But building a swipe file is legit just a big resource of everything. It's like a document, a Google Doc or a Word doc, doesn't matter. So you're going to start building a swipe file. This is just a saved document of any of the research words that you see that are related to your the books that you've done the research on. Also, when you're scrolling through, like, Facebook and Instagram messages, pull those over, like, pull that language over. The same with any social media posts you see, like, when people are like, oh, like, I'm really struggling with this. Like, in Business Bootcamp, I ask every person coming in, what's the number 1 challenge they're facing? That gets saved in a swipe file. So I know what they're struggling with and the language that they're actually going to use, right? So that is, just start collecting this. It's like a collection of things that you see people say, what people ask you about, all that sort of stuff. That's exactly where your content should be coming from. And when you go to tweak a post, that's how you're going to be doing it. Okay, and then the step 4 here is learn how to serve your ideal customers. So if you want your ideal customers to actually engage with you, then you better know what they actually want. So you want to be thinking about, how can you help your ideal customer get closer to their desired outcome for free, right? Before they even buy from you. This is where, when we're talking about freebies and things like that, like, a title change without changing anything in the freebie can make a really big difference. So if somebody is like really struggling with time, I'm going to want to have time savings in my title of the freebie, right? So the more that you get to know your ideal customer, the more that you can make these tweaks with how you're serving up value for them. Next, you want to answer the question, does she want inspiration? Does she want to laugh? Does she want something straight to the point? What does she really want? The only way you can figure that out is if you really get to know her and you can survey your audience and ask them, right? Like, what are your favorite emails to get? Or like, pick one of the words that you prefer the most. Inspiration, a good laugh, teaching me something. Like, you can ask them those questions so that you know how to start catering your content towards it. And then also, you want to understand how your ideal customer wants the information delivered. Does she prefer email or video? Does she like podcasts or audio or PDFs? Or maybe it's some combination. So again, this just comes from surveying your audience and asking them how they prefer their information to be delivered. This can be maybe in a Facebook group. It can just be on your social media feed. You can do these sort of things on stories too, right? Where you're like, what do you prefer? Video or podcast? And like, you can keep collecting information that way. You want to be always surveying your audience. If you don't have a big following yet, ask the people you do have. That's the only way that it'll ever be like built up, is if you serve the people that you can serve right now. And then you're going to find more people that are like the people that you're serving in turn, right? The other thing you want to know is, where does she like to spend her time? Is it on Facebook? Is it on Insta? Is it on stories? Maybe she's on TikTok, YouTube, or Pinterest. Again, asking people where they spend the most time. And you can do this like on your Facebook feed. Again, like you could do it in stories, like just asking these questions. Okay, so now we're gonna bring this on home and talk about where the tweaking comes in. So you've been gathering tons of intel and data and about your ideal customer, confirming your understanding and getting closer to them than ever before. So as you guys can see, like there's a lot of work that goes into not only thinking about your ideal customer, doing the research and confirming, and then going back and like making tweaks to what you thought you believed about them, right? It's really important that you really, really like close that loop but keep getting more and more feedback as you're going along with this. So then when you think about how to tweak your social media posts, for example, I just have a couple here. When you think about some of these posts and how you would tweak them, let's say we were talking about, like your 10 rounds, let's say, is your ideal customer. So in the first post here, if I'm talking to a mom, I'm going to leave a lot of this, right? I'm hugging my littles a little tighter when they're not at each other's throats from being stuck together for so long. Heaven help us. And also seeing the beauty of a community working together in a whole new way. It's times like this, my gratitude for, you could even say like for having a workout I can just do at home has deepened to another level, right? Have you tried any at-home workouts since you've been home? It's as simple as that, right? I'm tweaking that just a little bit so that I'm speaking to that person that is like thinking about doing a workout at home, right? It doesn't have to be crazy, the tweaks, but it's all about having that ideal customer in front of you, knowing the path you want to take them down, and then just making those slight tweaks. And the more language that you get, the more that you're going to be able to infuse that in your posts as you go. So we already talked a little bit about this, like how to tweak your freebies. If somebody is super interested in time savings, then tweak your freebie to have that in the title. The 14 meals that'll save you hella time or whatever, right? Like you just knowing your ideal customer and knowing what they desperately want, you can tweak the titles of your freebies. Nothing in the freebie has to change. It's just it like this could be 10 quick and dirty crock pot recipes to warm the soul. Like it's just easy. Like you don't have, it doesn't have to be crazy when it comes to tweaking once you learn all this language stuff. How to tweak your emails. So when it comes to the intel you're gathering, maybe one thing that you're doing here is, so this first one, 7 benefits of sun. So the intro, I'd probably leave it the same. I don't know where you are, but in my neck of the woods, signs of springs are popping up everywhere. So I'm probably going to leave that intro the same. And then we're going to talk about the 7 benefits we receive from the sun. I would almost say like these benefits can also be found from starting a home workout routine. Something like that. It's just simple, right? I'm just catering it a little bit more to that audience of people that are thinking about working out from home. So it's just simple little tweaks that you're making, the more language that you have. Same with your Facebook group posts. When you're posting in your groups here. This one is about mindset and motivation for Mondays. So anyone else dislike starting things they don't already feel like an expert in? It took me years to realize that nothing just plops in my lap unless we're talking about needy puppies. Or you could always, like, if you're not a puppy person, you change that, right? To like, needy kids or something like that, right? It's just that slight little tweak that shows that you're listening to your audience. That's what you're looking for. And then it's the same with your social media, your feeds, right? Any of your photos. So if you know that they are, when we were talking about the people that are sort of like athletic, people that are like soccer moms and things like that, like this might be really appealing to them to see in their feed, like something about like, the gear I'm gushing over, something like that. Whereas for other people, that's not even on their radar. So you wouldn't share a picture like this. So it's all about knowing, does that person, maybe they're a mom and they get tons of engagement whenever you guys share like kid photos or things like that. So, so that's, you want to make that differentiation. Go back and look at your posts and see where you are getting the most engagement. That's also going to tell you which photos are the most valuable. Now, the other thing is here that with your photos, next month in our workshop, I've confirmed our next guest who is going to be talking all about photos, because the caption is only one part, right? If you put a really crappy photo with a good caption, you're not going to get the engagement either, right? It's like really knowing how to curate and put together great photos. So guys, this is your time. The thing is, you can say all the right things for all the right reasons, but if you're talking to the wrong person, it will never, ever matter, right? So I want you guys to just put in the comments here. We've obviously covered a lot of ground today, 2 full hours of workshop content. What is something you're taking away from the workshop that you'll be doing differently from now? I'd love to know in the comments here. And then I'll just answer Heather's question. Are the Facebook posts made more for your accountability group, or would you use them on your personal page? The Facebook posts, I mean, you could definitely, if you want to, use them on your personal page. I'd use them in a community, a free community, or your accountability group, where any sort of group, they're more like group related, but you could definitely still use them on your personal page. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so let's hear it. What are your takeaways, guys? What's the first thing that you're going to be doing now that you've learned all this information? Asking more questions, looking at reviews. Love it. Yeah. Like, the more that you dig into this stuff, the more questions you ask, guys, like, the easier this stuff becomes. Okay, cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for jumping on today. If anyone has any final questions here, I'll just leave a surveying more research. Love it. Yeah, if anyone has any final questions here, we can definitely go over those. Love it. Creating my avatar to fit launch calendar. Yeah. gathering information, the interviews. Love it, guys. That's great. That's awesome. It just feels really good to have a place to start, right? Yeah, swipe file Tracy is just a document to put all your answers in. That's all it is. Customer interview in your free group as a video. I love it. Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Yeah, doing the work to really craft my avatar. That's great stuff, guys. So guys, thank you so much for jumping on today. The recording is going to be available in the course section of the website where you guys find all your other course material. And for those that are jumping on that are not, that you guys don't have like a login and stuff, we'll make sure to send out an email with further instructions on that. Yeah, and the recording will be there, the handout will be there, and we'll also make sure to put in the Excel link as well for the research matrix. So thank you guys. I'm so glad you learned a lot. That's awesome. That really means a lot to me. I hope that this was really great at providing some clarity, guys, at where to go with this. And I promise you, if you do the work, your ideal customers will come. All right, guys. Yeah. Too. You can put swipe files, ideas for posts and pictures, anything you want to remember. All right, guys. That is everything. Thank you so much for jumping on today. And I'm very grateful to be able to be here with you and for you guys to to chat with me today, taking the time to do so. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for jumping on, and we'll get the recording up. And if we can get the MP3, we'll definitely put that up there as well, Tanya. Thank you guys so much. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you.